Every year, hundreds of these magnificent, beautiful creatures that you see standing before me suffer from the exploits of one enraged bounty hunter with seemingly an axe to grind against AI creatures. Bristlebacks, thunderjewels, watchers. Hundreds of these beautiful, magnificent AI creatures that you see behind me are at risk of becoming extinct. However, for just 5 rocks or shells every month, you could potentially save the life as we endeavour to forever put the exploits of this red-headed demon to bed for good. 0800 1234 Horizon. That's 0800 1234 Horizon. And maybe one day we can all make a difference. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone, it's Aaron here from Push Square, and yes, the month of February has finally arrived, and this is the month where things get particularly interesting and no doubt exciting for everything PlayStation. Because as well as being the month of loved up chumps and broken hearts, another thing that's primed to be broken is our bank account. Why? Well, let's get into it. These are 12 massive games coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 throughout the month of February. Won't somebody help us? February kicks off in style with players having the perfect opportunity to re-experience the story-driven delights of Life is Strange. The aptly titled Remastered collection bundles together the first Life is Strange game alongside its direct follow-up story Life is Strange Before the Storm. Available on PlayStation 5 for the very first time, but also sporting some substantial technical improvements on PlayStation 4, it's the ideal excuse to return to Arcadia Bay and spend some time with such well-drawn characters as Chloe and Max, both of whom have since gone on to take on a life of their own. Both feature titles offer you the chance to shape the direction of the characters and story, letting you make emotional decisions that are necessary for uncovering a series of deeper family mysteries. Max and Chloe's adventures offer a unique spin on the traditional teen drama conceit by including a supernatural twist. Sometimes this might mean moving backwards and forwards in time, or just keeping your D&D party at bay. Needless to say, if you haven't already experienced these evocative stories about the bonds of friendship, then Life is Strange Remastered Collection is a must-play when it hits PlayStation from February 1st onwards. After suffering multiple delays since its original announcement way back when at E3 2018, Techland's eagerly anticipated follow-up to its early PS4 zombie hit finally chomps its way onto consoles this February 4th. Picking up almost 20 years after the first game's events, when a new iteration of the viral infection has started to take hold, Aiden's journey to liberate the various peoples of a mysterious European city known only as The City will see him need to bat away the undead at almost every turn. Luckily, this time around, there's plenty more tools available to do it with. Certain fan favourite methods of traversal like the grappling hook return, but new additions like the paraglider help you witness the zombie takeover from an all-new perspective. Couple this with a boatload of new undead enemy types, and you'll need to master Dying Light 2's trademark parkour system better than you ever did before. Which faction will you choose to side with by the time night falls over the city? February 4th is your time to find out on either PS4 or PS5. The OLLIOLLI series is one with a long, storied history on PlayStation platforms. The first 2 games wowed players on PS3, PS4, and even PS Vita with its unique infusion of 2D platforming challenges and tight skateboarding mechanics. But the scope has now been drastically expanded for this new installment that's been a staggering 7 years in the making. OLLIOLLI World features a totally fresh art style that pulls direct inspiration from the Adult Swim era of cartoons, as well as a new 2.5D perspective and several never-before-seen trick types such as wall riding, air grabs, and more. OLLIOLLI World has been specifically designed to be a lot more approachable than the prior 2 games, not punishing you as much for not landing tricks correctly, and instead encouraging you to get back on the board and achieve the best score possible through practice. Plus, if that isn't enough to keep you zooming through the 5 distinct lands that the skating utopia of Radlandia has to offer, optional challenges and various character customization unlocks are sure to prove rather moreish. Is heaven really a half-pipe? We'll find out when OLLIOLLI World comes to PS4 and PS5 from February 8th. Boasting a lovingly hand-drawn art style, UNBOUND Worlds Apart launches on PS4 and PS5 this February 9th as a challenging yet wildly atmospheric 2D platformer. Sure, it might sit on the smaller side of notable titles releasing in February, but it could be of interest to players who want to test their reflexes and don't mind digging deeper into the mystery of a dark world. Using your powers of super strength, gravity flipping, and even time manipulation, it's up to you to overcome obstacles in the most creative manner possible. UNBOUND Worlds Apart casts you as a mage, exploring a universe connected by portals as you hope to discover the properties of each world as you move through them. Several off-kilter characters are there to help you on this journey, offering hints and tips as you forever try to wrap your head around UNBOUND's Twitch-based gameplay. This is definitely one to watch for any indie lovers out there. A PlayStation console exclusive releasing on February 10th, much has been said about the martial art delights of SIFU. It's primarily a 3D beat-em-up, sure, but what makes it stand out is its dedication to replicating some of the best fight choreography of 70s action cinema through gameplay. As well as learning its intense brand of hand-to-hand combat, overcoming your opponents in SIFU also means taking into account your positioning and how you can best bring in the environments around you into a fight. Doing this is the only way to achieve your quest for vengeance. Learning through your errors is also key in SIFU, as every time you die, your character will grow older and therefore wiser. In-game, this translates to gaining access to more skills, letting you transform into more of a martial arts master despite your previous failures. Eventually, you'll grow from young student to kung fu legend, taking on endless hordes of underlings against the backdrop of a beautiful claymation art style. Will SIFU be able to live up to this hype? We don't have much longer to find out. Having previously released on PC back during the middle of last year, turn-based RPG Edge of Eternity finally makes its console debut on PS4 and PS5 this February 10th. Set in the wildly evocative fantasy world of Herion, a world being torn apart by the sudden arrival of an alien force, you'll play as a hero trying to change their destiny while trying to also save the environments around them. Combat is primarily turn-based, as mentioned, taking place across hexagonal grids while also incorporating certain active time battle elements in a tribute to classic Final Fantasy. It might not quite feature the high budget of Square Enix's iconic JRPG series, but its unique mixture of familiar fantasy tropes with certain sci-fi elements does give it a slight narrative edge. Robots and magic in the same game? Edge of Eternity is where you'll find it, in a slightly smaller scale JRPG that still boasts a lot of heart alongside a traditional but reliable turn-based gameplay system. There are three things that are certain in life: death, taxes, and Dynasty Warrior games. Luckily, it's only the last thing on that list that hopes to make a big splash on February 15th, as Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires launches on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Those familiar with Koei Tecmo's classic series of epic hack and slashers will feel right at home here, as you must again try and conquer various territories while trying to manage the hundreds of on-screen enemies constantly rushing at you. Where Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires differs, however, is how traditional battles have evolved into a new combat style known as castle sieges. These larger scale battles take place around specific points on the battlefield, forcing you to implement a new type of strategy as you try to work out the best way to take over castles. In all these ways and more, this next Dynasty Warriors installment doesn't look to disappoint. After featuring heavily during October's State of Play and enjoying a successful open beta period last year, the next entry into SNK's legendary fighting game franchise is finally ready to come out swinging on February 17th. Launching on both PS4 and PS5, the first thing to mention is that the King of Fighters has never looked as good as this. Its cel-shaded character art looks to really pop, especially on PlayStation 5, adding a restored sense of vibrance to the game's over-the-top 1v1 bouts as well as the 3v3 team battles. There's a total of 39 characters to master and play as overall, each with their own gamut of unique combos and special moves. Plus, if that wasn't enough, SNK has promised that the King of Fighters 15 will deliver an explosive climax for this long-running story almost 3 decades in the making. However, whether you care about narrative or not, PlayStation audiences can look forward to a content-packed fighter that offers a great degree of mechanical depth, whether playing locally against friends or during online battles. February 18th marks the one us PlayStation fans have all been waiting for, as Horizon Forbidden West finally arrives as arguably the biggest first-party exclusive on PS4 and PS5 this year. Picking up directly after the events of 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn, it's clear that Guerrilla has invested a lot more resources into Aloy's follow-up adventure, with plenty more sights to see and new machine types to battle and overcome. From what we've seen so far, a lot more verticality has also been added, with Aloy now able to dive underwater in search of her prey and resources whenever approaching enemies on solid ground just won't cut it. Not to mention that Forbidden West looks absolutely drop-dead gorgeous, especially considering that this isn't a linear adventure, but rather a full-blown open world. The Western frontier brings with it all new dangers, but it's this exact excitement that powers Aloy through her quest for discovery. It's one that we also can't wait to take part in when Horizon Forbidden West launches in style this February 18th. Since separating from Activision and going completely independent, Destiny 2 has enjoyed a wealth of fresh content updates and ongoing support. Sure, this continued ambition has meant that early story chapters have been forever lost in time, but hopefully that won't matter too much when its biggest expansion yet, The Witch Queen, launches on both PS4 and PS5 come February 22nd. This fresh narrative invites you to uncover the Throne World's secrets, so why not do so with friends? As well as an entirely new location to explore, The Witch Queen brings with it a new legendary campaign difficulty mode, a new enemy faction known as Lucent Blood, and the promise of a fresh raid, though not too much is yet known about the latter. We're sure, however, that more will be revealed as we venture ever closer to The Witch Queen's release on February 22nd. All we know for sure is that the light has been stolen, and it's your Guardian's job to take it back. The only game that could possibly rival Horizon Forbidden West in terms of pure anticipation on PlayStation, Elden Ring finally lands just like a 100-ton gorilla on PS4 and PS5 on February 25th. Maintaining the intrinsic sense of mystery and deep lore elements other FromSoft games have been known for, Elden Ring looks to take its gameplay to an all-new level by pushing things fully into the open world. The likes of Dark Souls and Bloodborne may have toyed with the idea of interconnected settings before, but unraveling the mysteries of the Elden Ring's power requires an approach that is markedly less tethered. Taking place in a dark and twisted environment known only as the Lands in Between, Elden Ring ups the ante by placing just as much emphasis on exploration this time as it does tight, hardcore action RPG combat. You play as a tarnished being, summoned back to these lands after previously being exiled, and now it's your job to find all the great runes needed to piece the Elden Ring back together. Just be prepared to face unprecedented challenges in order to do so. Something tells us that the conversation around Elden Ring will only have started on February 25th, and is something that will continue far past 2022 and beyond. The first blockbuster racing game of the year speeds its way onto PS5 and PS4 this February 25th in the form of Grid Legends. And this time, Codemasters' classic series isn't playing around. It's hoping to offer edge-of-your-seat motorsport action by letting players get behind the wheel of all kinds of different vehicle types as they take part in several exciting events situated across the globe. There are over 130 different routes to race through in total, ensuring that whether you're drifting around in big rigs or supercars, the thrill is always guaranteed to be fun. When you're not putting Grid Legends' built-in race creator through its paces in order to create your very own tracks, the game's Driven to Victory story mode promises to set you off from the starting grid in style. It's been touted as the biggest career component this series has seen yet, with hundreds of events that keep you motivated to stay going thanks to there being plenty of car upgrades to unlock. Needless to say, if you're seeking to finish first and achieve racing glory early on this year, Grid Legends should have you catered for. So there you have it guys, for 12 big games coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 throughout the month of February. Let me know in the comment section below which game you intend on picking up. I'm sure it's not just going to be me that can't wait to dive into the exploits of Horizon Forbidden West. Feels like we've been waiting ages for this game, but it's almost finally here. Anyway, once you've done that, be sure to leave this video a like if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing to the Push Square YouTube channel for everything else PlayStation related. Until then, I want to thank you as ever for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.